let us get professional. All right, guys, the Eradicator. You guys know who the Eradicator is. If you don't, go over to his channel. He's linked on my own channel here, and he decided to post a little bit of our conversation with persistence in Star Citizen, which we had on our podcast. By the way, patron members who push join can listen to the full 1 hour podcast that I had with the Eradicator. It was a really fun time for me. I always love talking to him because he's just a super nice dude. And we always chill. We always have fun, even when we disagree. And this particular topic we disagreed on. And I wanted to play a little bit of for you guys. I don't think he'll mind because this is part of my podcast and he's posting on his channel. It only has about 1,000 views, but I wanted you guys to get a little snippet of what our podcast or what the DG360 podcast is about. What's up, Erad? I don't think Erad will mind. Erad, I wanted to play a little bit of the podcast that we are on here. Do you mind if I click into your video, bud? We're going to talk about the persistence kind of factor when it comes to Star Citizen. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine with it. If you're not, you can trash talk me on your next video, dude. But I wanted other people to hear about this because I really thought this was a really interesting portion of the podcast. I wanted to play it for people that aren't caught up to speed on DG360, or for those that aren't caught up with what the Eradicator and I were talking about in terms of like persistence with Star Citizen. He's got a great poll on his channel as well. We'll go over there and we'll vote on that as well in the community. I think that's fine. Erad says, cool, go ahead. We're gonna play. I want to play a majority of this because I want to hear what you guys think. I'll get out of the shot here and let's just play this and let's hear what Erad has to say.
Here's a name I can say from the Eradicator.
Hello and welcome to this channel. Today we have a very special video because, as you may know, last week I joined DG360's podcast and we were able to talk about a great number of things here, including long-term persistence. We had a very interesting debate. DG allowed me to share one of the topics that we had together in his postcap in this channel, so that's what we're gonna do right here. We're gonna talk about long-term persistence, what he thinks, what I think, and then we'll have a little community vote in the community tab to see who you think is right and who you think is wrong. So here we go. Let's get started right here.
How often are they going to reset the wallet
until the next exploit?
Right. And that's what I'm saying is like, how valid is this data coming from us saying that our wallet amount, our credit, our balance is going to persist? Is it just... You know, is it just bullshit? Or, yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm kind of getting at is like, you know, when it comes down to it, like, is it really persistence if literally like we're just going to hit the next exploit and they're going to start the whole thing over again anyway?
It's persistence if there is no exploit.
And there's the next exploit almost every patch anyway. So yeah, it's basically like, what's the point of that? I saw that in Star Citizen leaks. I put it out there. I was really excited about it. And that's kind of what I'm getting to is like after me putting that information out on the channel, I thought about it. I'm like, wait a second, this isn't that great because we're gonna hit the next patch. There's gonna be the exploit, and we're gonna start over again. It's not like it's gonna continue to like go through these patches. Like, okay, now we're at 3.8.3, 3.8.4. God only knows how many like till we hit 3.9.
Well,
it's getting quite ridiculous.
It's just they are saying we have the ability to do it. But it depends on. It depends on factors that are not that don't depend on us.
I got so many thoughts in my head. There has to be some type of persistence to the actual balance carrying forward through patches, so that people want to continue to log in and they feel like their work doesn't get erased.
No. I think that people. I'm sorry to stop you here, DJ.
That's okay.
But
Okay.
Already, I think that already this state of mind is wrong.
Okay, tell me why.
Because.
Let me just say, this is why I love the Eradicator. I'm stopping this right now. We had an hour-long talk on our podcast, This is one of the many topics. A lot of times Erad and I agree on things, but when we disagree, I love this. Like the disagreements are really civil. We're very open-minded. We listen to each other's arguments when we go about this. One of the reasons I really love the Eradicator is he's very open and he listens, and so do I. And the exchange that we have here is, to me, a very important exchange because it talks. Okay, enough of me. I'm getting out of this because this is too interesting for me. I actually find this fascinating to listen to because I've digested this a few times and I've kind of gone back and forth on this. So I'm shutting up. Let's continue.
Because, and I hate to say that, this is something.
Tell me. I love it. I love it.
Because this is alpha, man.
Right, and that's what I was getting to. The argument is exactly what, as you state. Like, people say, "Wait a second, this game's in test mode. Like, we're in alpha." But here's my counter argument to that argument, and that is that if we want the game to be successful, we do want people to like continue to log into the game. It is an alpha. It is test. It is in test mode. I get it. You're right. But when it comes to actually like retention rates and people being interested in Star Citizen and the amount of fans staying in the game, consistently playing the game, getting involved in content, getting involved in the actual, process of this, there is that element to it where you want these people to stick around. If every time they feel discouraged that they're losing their credit or their work that they've done, then they kind of drift towards other titles.
And that's because they're putting their expectations at the wrong place.
Too high. So so the counter argument to that is you're saying then, okay, basically what's happening is you've put your expectations way too high. It's still an alpha. Calm the down. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
And the people then that are grinding for all these credits, it's like you're telling them you're kind of wasting your time at this point. Like,
no, and this is where I'm on the same page as.
So that's where I'm thinking. Okay,
and this is where I'm on the same page as my buddies at Ultima Energy. I don't know if you know people like Sigalen, for example, or Jack Axton, right? So what we're seeing here, what we're thinking is that we don't see. And I think I'm speaking for them too, based on the conversations that we've had, especially with Sigalian. We don't see the current bills as we're grinding so hard and we're accumulating profit and we're advancing in it. No, for us, we see that as being training. It's training. We're learning to be as effective as possible. And it doesn't matter if there are patches that are going to be doing some wipes over. That's fine. Then we're going to make, let's say, for example, we ended up with 5 million alpha UEC after 3 months. Well, we're going to try to get to 5 million after 2 months.
So what would you tell people that are actually grinding and get discouraged that they feel like their quote unquote work gets erased? We just tell them, hey, chill out. This is training.
Wrong. Exactly. Yeah.
You have to realize.
That's why I'm telling you that.
I love it, dude. This is why I love you, man. Because this is great. You're very opinionated. This is wonderful, man. This is why I love having you on this podcast, man. This is why I love it. Like, I love our discussions. I disagree with only in the fact of the terms of, see, when I'm looking at it, I'm not even looking at it in terms of like the work that they're putting in the game being erased. I don't view it like that. To me, I'm looking at it from like a business standpoint. If I want to like sell the most that I can sell, if I want to be the most effective or productive I can in real life and make Star Citizen a success, I want to make sure that people are playing my game, even if it's an alpha, and I want people to stay in it. I want people to log in. I want people to talk about it. I don't want people to like drift and wander off and go to something else. So
yeah, but DG, you can't dance faster than the music.
Oh, yes, I can, dude. I've drank a lot of coffee this morning. You trust me, I can dance much faster than the music. No, but I get what you're saying.
You get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
If it's not ready, it's not ready. You can't ask.
Right. The tempo is the tempo. I can't dance a samba if there's like an orchestra playing a very slow.
Exactly, right.
Like March. I'm dancing the wrong dance. To the wrong music. I get you, dude. I love it, dude. I fucking love you. You're great.
Which is why I'm sorry, DG, but it's just what you are saying. The fact that CIG needs to retain their audience because people are discouraged. It's just right now, Star Citizen is not ready for that yet. It's as simple as that.
It's in my mind. it's like the way a developer would think is how you're speaking right now. And it's interesting to me because a developer would say exactly what you're saying is like, this is the music. This is the tempo. This is where we're at. You're going to have to get in alignment with it. On the sales side of it, the sales guy is saying, listen, we want to sell this. We want to like support the project. I don't care what song you're playing. Like, this is what we need to do to keep people here. And so change the song. And then the developer would say, this is the song. And then the sales guy would say, change the song. You know, like this is the fun argument that I think you and I are having right now, because I believe that if something doesn't change in the way that they view the people who are experiencing the game, then they're going to actually, cut their nose off to spite their face. The saying, like, you're actually hurting yourself more in the long run if you don't, like, in the same way that I view the content is the same way I'm looking at how they look at the people that are supporting, like the backers that are supporting the game, is the same way I'm looking at how they're kind of releasing the content as well. Like, they're looking at backers and they're saying, and again, I'll wrap it up here, but when I look at our discussion about the retention rates of people, my side of the argument is saying, maybe you guys should approach this so that there's more, there is actually some type of persistence to this alpha, even though it is an alpha. I understand on the developer side, this is how games are produced. I get it. But we have to think about, this is not something that has been done before on this scale ever. And everybody's involved. It's all transparent, and we are trying to make this become a reality. So maybe it would be a good idea to keep people playing, to keep people interested, and put in actual persistence when it comes to certain types of mechanics in this alpha to keep people here and interested. Yeah.
DG, what if there's an exploit? And that's going to be all for this interesting debate here. You can find more of our conversation.
It was a wonderful time I had with Erad, by the way. Many more talks in the future with Erad on the podcast. That was a 50-minute podcast. If you guys are interested in hearing more of that, you can become a $5 member on YouTube, or you can become a $5 patron, and you'll have access to those podcasts. There's only 2 currently, but I plan on doing 2 every month and really booting that up. I love doing that podcast. It will continue forward, and it's always a good time. I love having Erad on it. I'm going to have him much more on it, but let's go right now. I wanted to look at some of these comments here, and it's interesting. Zaylin says, I'm a patron of DG's as well, so I watched the discussion between the two of you. I have to agree with DG on this one. And then when we go to, there's a lot of I agree with DG on this one. So I wanted to go to the poll, and I wanted to see what people were saying on the poll. I think, Erad made this like a DG versus Eradicator kind of thing. I think in respect to my friend, the Eradicator, I think in a way we're both right on this. I think we can both be right on this. And I think that some work can actually be done to keep people playing the game and to, keep people interested and keep people spending and pledging so that the game gets produced. That's really where I'm coming from. I think Erad would in some ways agree with me on that as well. But here's the poll results so far that I can see on Erad's. And by the way, if you're on the stream now live, or if you're watching this video afterwards, because I do want to release this, I want to help the Eradicator out as well, take some of my fans and ship them on over to Erad's channel as well to help him out. We always help one another out here in our community. I want you guys to take this poll. Now, of course, I voted for myself. I guess I just went domineering like warrior mode, and I'm like, I'm gonna vote for me. But really, I'm feeling like I should vote for Erad now. So I'm changing because I feel like I want to give him that pity vote. I just raised you up by 1%, my friend. Oh, I love you, dude. So he says, following my debate with DG, who do you think was right? Only 13% said Erad, which I kind of found surprising. I actually found that very, very shocking. Mike says in the chat, the fun part is I don't disagree with DG either. Yeah. So like, this is interesting. There's a lot of people that can understand both of our viewpoints. And I think that's very rational to actually look at both of the viewpoints and be like, hey, you know, both of these guys are right. Let's find like a happy median here, is something that I think is really constructive for the Star Citizen community. I think that voice, like our voices, Erad and mine and those of the community, should get out there to the developers so the developers can really think about a way in which they can capture the most people, but at the same time still test this in alpha. I think they're trying to do it. But then does it make persistence completely invalid, because essentially what Erad's saying is because the exploit's going to hit on every patch, you know, it's kind of like it's all hype, because essentially your work or your quote unquote work that you're putting in to grind for those credits is going to get wiped anyway, you know? So I think they're trying to do both. I think that's currently what SIG is trying to do right now. But anyway, back to the poll here. 13% said Erad was right in his argument. 40, wow. I've never won anything in my life, Erad. This is great. Thank you, dude. DG, 46% said DG. There should be persistence to keep our playtime meaningful. And then both of you, we got 20. That's cool. 30% almost said both of us. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That is very, very cool. You know, overall, I think that was a very important poll. I think that was pretty cool topic. And there's many, many, many more topics in that podcast. In fact, I want to go to it right now just to kind of see exactly the topics in the podcast, because there were other really great, let's see if I can get to this here. Patreon's very funny as far as the load times, man. Jack Conti really needs to work on that. Let's see here. So if I look at it, it says, oh, we talk about the content that we've been seeing from Cloud Imperium lately, which was cool. Erad's criticisms of me being a white knight. Bobbleheads. We talked about Inside Star Citizen, about subscribers. We went over that, which was really cool. We laughed for like 2 minutes straight. We talked about the Carrick a little bit. We talked about mining. We talked about wallet to wallet transactions. Account balance persistency was what you guys heard. So the section of the podcast you guys heard was the middle of it, about 10 minutes, where we talked about account balance persistency fallacy is what we were talking about. And yeah, I got to go back to the poll because the Eradicator brought up something really interesting. I love his last option. We'll go over that as well. Then we talked about the retention rate, and we talked about gameplay. We talked about being content creators. We talked about the roadmap, Squadron 42, SIG management, staggered development. That was a jam-packed podcast. I had a great time. That was awesome. If you go back to the Eradicator's poll, this is funny. His last selection was, I find both of you profoundly unlikable. 11% of people actually voted that we were unlikable. That's insane. 25 people said, I hate both you guys. That's like, wow, man. I don't know what to think about that. Is that I think that's the troll vote. I think there's a couple trolls, but I also think that there's some serious people that do not like either Erad or myself, or perhaps that number's elevated because I'm in the poll as well. So anyhow, oh my God, go over to Erad's channel, go vote on his poll right here. That I think that's an interesting, I'm going to post this as a video. My YouTube channel is like a follow-up, and promote my friend as well. And I think all in all, a great discussion was had by my friend Erad and myself. Halo says in the chat, the new ships are what is bringing me back, but I can't afford them. So I play a lot more when they are free fly. Yeah. Also, Halo, using the new rent system in the game is fantastic. So if you have not used that yet, Halo, you have access to rent ships in the game. Pretty cool. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about right there. Go over to Erad's channel, vote. He's doing really good. Like, he's doing very good. I'm very happy for him. And then don't forget to go to my channel as well in the community poll to vote on this new poll that we've got here that we're going to talk about probably Thursday. It seems like we almost have 100 votes right now. and that is about the amount of players that you would like to see in Star Citizen, which I think is a pretty interesting